They say the gods gave pharaohs the right to rule. But what is justice if the poor have no voice to defend it? Over 4,000 years ago, in the land of the Nile, a simple farmer named Khun-Anup was robbed, not just of grain and donkeys, but of dignity itself. He had no gold, no army, no title, only his words, and they echoed louder than kings. But before we begin his journey, you're watching Tales Across the Globe, where ancient wisdom meets powerful storytelling. Every week, we bring you timeless folk tales, legends, and hidden gems from around the world. If you love stories that matter, you're in the right place. Let us journey back thousands of years to the banks of the Nile, where justice wore a crown and silence served the powerful. Khun-Anup was a man of the earth. He rose with the sun, worked the soil, and trusted the rhythm of seasons. His wife spun linen by the doorway. His children laughed among the barley fields. They had little, but dignity was his wealth. And when it was taken, he chose not to weep, but to speak. On a warm morning, before the heat rose high, he packed his donkey with goods: barley, salt, natron. It wasn't much, but it could be traded for oil and linen to keep his family clothed and fed. To reach the market, Khun-Anup took the road he always had, a dusty track that wound through the estate of Nemtinacht. Nemtinacht, a man wrapped in gold and shielded by fear. His name traveled ahead of him, not in reverence, but as a warning. Servants bowed. Guards stood like stone. No peasant dared to test his will. But Khun-Anup didn't know a trap had been set. Across the path, a simple cloth stretched. No gate, no barrier, just cloth, and men waiting behind it, ready to strike. When Khun-Anup passed by, Nemtinacht stormed out. "You've trespassed!" he shouted. Before Khun-Anup barely opened his mouth, fists flew. His donkey was taken, his goods stolen, his dignity spat on. He was left in the sand, bleeding with nothing. But Khun-Anup did not curse the gods. He did not scream into the wind. He walked 9 days across the desert, blistered soles, cracked lips, eyes squinting through sand and heat. He passed vultures circling overhead, heard only the hush of wind sweeping the dunes. At night, he slept beneath palm trunks. By day, he pressed forward, silent, sunburnt, and determined. He walked to Henansu, where the high steward Rensi, son of Meru, ruled, a man said to be fair and just, not to beg, not to plead, but to speak. White stone pillars towered over him. Lotus carvings lined the hall. A coolness hung in the air, a silence reserved for power. Khun-Anup, ragged and dry-mouthed, stood before the steward's seat. Guards watched, scribes waited, and he spoke. "My lord," he said, voice steady, "you are the balance of the land, the scales by which Ma'at is measured. Tilt not those scales for the sake of silence. Be the shelter of the poor, not the shield of the wicked." The air in the court did not move. Rensi sat, hands folded. His eyes did not narrow. His mouth did not twitch. He gave no reply, but he turned to his scribes. "Let this man speak again," he said at last, "and record every word." Khun-Anup returned the next morning, his walk slower, but his voice unwavering. "If you close your ears to the cry of the poor," he said, "you tear the sky from above us. Silence, when truth is known, is a wound upon the land." Again, No reply. Only the quiet scratching of reed pens on parchment. Still no answer. But he returned again. "A man's tongue is a blade," he said. "When sharpened with truth, it can strike through lies. Let my words cut through the rot. I do not ask for favor, I ask for balance." Every word was written. Every word weighed. Rensi's face did not move, but his fingers gripped his chair tighter. The scribes noticed. Khun-Anup's visits became the rhythm of the court. Every day he entered. Every day the guards parted. Servants whispered about the peasant who spoke like a prophet. "What is a noble name?" he asked. "If it covers a coward's heart. If your titles shine while your deeds are dull, then it is not honor you wear. It is a disguise." On the 5th day, Khun-Anup came again. "Ma'at is not a statue," he said. "Not a chant or a token. It is the breath of the world. When injustice reigns, the river dries, the sun turns its face, and Egypt herself weeps." He spoke to the marble, but he was aiming for the man. His words carried like wind through papyrus reeds. Rensi remained motionless. But that night, he did not sleep. The 6th day, he stood taller. "I am one voice," Khun-Anup said, "but behind me are many. I speak not only for my donkey, nor my salt. I speak for every man whose cries vanish like smoke." The 7th day, his words turned sharp. "The storm is near. It does not ask permission. The weak will be swept away. But you may choose to stand against it, or be part of it." And again, on the 8th day, "The gods do not count silver," he said. "They weigh the heart. And when the heart of a judge grows heavy with indifference, the scale of Ma'at is thrown into darkness." And on the 9th day, the final day, Khun-Anup spoke with fire. He did not shout. He did not bow. He looked Rensi in the eye. "You are the gate," he said. "If you will not open, then you are the thief beside the road." He did not weep. He did not kneel. He waited. Silence. The scribe's pens lifted. Rensi rose from his seat. Without a word, he gathered the scrolls. He took the scrolls, each word, each plea, each wound carved into papyrus, and he carried them to the palace. Nebkhaura, Pharaoh of Egypt, read them slowly, eyes narrowing, then softening. He paused. He read again. A long silence fell over the court, and then he spoke. "This man," said King Nebkhaura, "has reminded us of who we are, of what Ma'at demands. Let justice be done." Nemtinacht's wealth was stripped, his land returned, his false claims were erased, and Khun-Anup, who walked across the desert alone, who stood before silence and made it listen, was honored, vindicated, remembered. But to Khun-Anup, what mattered most was not the salt, not the donkey. It was that the world had listened. His words, once spoken by a dusty man in sandals, became immortal. Because justice does not begin with thrones or crowns. It begins when someone dares to speak. If this story moved you, imagine what else we've uncovered. Hit that subscribe button to join us on this global journey of wisdom and wonder. We release new stories every week, and every one of them carries a truth worth hearing. Thanks for watching Tales Across the Globe, where stories live forever.